Aren't you about ready to go home now?
Better run home to Mama now.
Welcome to NTR Radio. I'm Tom Force Anubis.
I'm K-Gods.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to discuss what gummed up the works last time, but
It's nothing. It's not a big deal.
No, let's just say that there were some issues that had to be sorted out. They have nothing to do with like infighting or any weird shit like that. It's just had to be postponed. Inclement weather, if you like.
So, first things first. If you're listening live, you can get involved with the show. Here's how you do that. Take yourself to ntrradio.net and click the live chat button. In the box,
Steal your local subway's Wi-Fi.
Yes, indeed. In the box, type in your nickname, hit the button, join us in the IRC channel. Alternatively, you can take your favorite IRC client and point it at irc.ryzen.net and join us in the # SLC media channel. Alternatively, you can get at us on Twitter, at TAnubis, at VZMK2, at NTR_radio, and as always, the email address to get involved with the show is ntrradio@gmail.com.
Send us your questions, comments, hate mail, whatever.
So I am all caught up on bottom tier character Tomozaki.
Okay.
Once again, I've given up on trying to really describe it all. I'm not going to do justice trying to explain it. Just watch the show. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
get social cues. Get social cues. The anime.
Yeah.
I would try to make this about school days somehow, but I don't.
Let's not. let's try and get these
I can
things.
already
These
see
two,
Anubis's blood pressure getting higher.
Let's try and get these two things as far away from each other as humanly possible.
Yes. So, how is everybody doing?
Okay.
Excellent.
I am a little under the weather. I'm just gonna be blunt. I am dealing with some serious sinus issues. They are probably because there's a fuck ton of pollen today. And needless to say, my genetics have decided they're not into that.
Now I'm reminded that episode of Cells at Work.
See, that is not what I thought you were going to say. I actually thought you were going to talk about okay, what the fuck was that called? I'm trying to remember the name of that. It was that one hentai.
Ooh. Oh, the Polinic Girls Attack.
Polinic Girls Attack. Yeah. I was like, trust me,
okay.
That's not happening. Trust me, that doesn't happen. More people would actually like having allergies if they did.
Yeah, that's not how pollen works, folks.
No,
Unfortunately, it's not how pollen works.
Yeah. You wish. No. Took me a minute to remember what the hell it was called, but yeah. I thought you were gonna go there. Cells at Work, yeah. It just show like people have vacated their post. It's just like somebody that works at the DMV that's just on a break or.
The second season ended last week. It was only 8 episodes, but just for the regular Cells at Work, which honestly it wasn't as engaging as the original one, and I don't know why that happened. The Cells at Work Black is still going.
Yeah, I've been hearing quite a bit about Cells at Work Black, but not the second season of the original.
Wonder Egg Priority was on break this week, last week. So
I still have to sort of work my way through that. Over the last week, there's been some stuff going on. I had a friend who ended up in the hospital. I mean, it wasn't unexpected. It was sort of like a thing where they went in for a procedure. So it wasn't like, no, they ended up there randomly. They actually had to go in there, but that wasn't fun. So anyway, what's everybody been watching or playing or?
I've not been playing a whole lot of video games. Like even really lately, like over the past couple months, I've not been playing a whole lot of video games. Like I go through cycles where either I'm playing video games for several hours a day, and then I'll go spend like weeks or a couple months not playing video games nearly at all. I think the last time I really earnestly I played some Doom Eternal, like a couple hours of Doom Eternal between the last 2 days or so, but the last time I really sat down for like really a few hours and played video games was when I was playing Elite Dangerous, and the only reason I was doing that was because I was shooting a music video. So even that was work.
No, I was gonna say, no, he plays video games when he gets the urge to punk somebody.
When the panda needs to get taken out live on stream, I'm there.
I still can't believe you essentially bought a PS4 for that.
Yep. Yeah, I bought a PS4 specifically to. And this is real. Like I would not have bought a PS4 if I didn't want to fucking prank the panda live on stream. That was so well executed. That might be my best executed punk of all time.
It's up there.
Now he's gonna buy the PS4 for the new Idolmaster game.
No.
Nah, I doubt it.
Well, okay, no, I say I wouldn't have gotten a PS4 if not for Punk of the Panda. I would have bought a PS4 because Virtual On is on the PS4. The only single video game that I will buy a console for is Virtual On. Which is weird because and like I'm the only person who knows, like there are very few of us who know who this dude is and care, but Jiro Watari left Sega not too long ago, like over the last week, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so that's really now the Virtual On franchise is kind of up in the air. like it's been up in the air before because there were 15 years between the fourth and fifth virtual long games. That's half my life, by the way. So there were 15 years between the fourth and fifth virtual long games, but now it's really in the air because the dude Jiro Watari is not at Sega anymore. So it and like I don't think that they can't put out another virtual long game, but it remains to be seen. Of course, I'm gonna play. This isn't like Halo Infinite where
He wants to get rich enough so that way he could buy the IP
by the
of
IP.
Virtual On.
You know
and
what?
then just
Only if Watari would come back and direct it. Only. I'm very arrogant, mind you, but I'm not so arrogant that I think that I would be like the Virtual On guy. I'll play Virtual On. I will beat most people in Virtual On, but I don't think I can run Virtual On. I don't want that kind of responsibility. I don't think I could handle it. But that's my thing. It's not like Halo Infinite where I fundamentally don't trust 343 with the franchise over Bungie. And for that reason, even though I normally
PS5
really like
level
Halo
graphics
games, even though I normally really like Halo games, I'm waiting on a Halo Infinite, whereas the Panda's getting it day one. I'm waiting to see if it's a good video game first. Virtual On, I'll basically buy a sight unseen, and if it's bad, then I'll be upset, but I'll eat that. Whereas almost any other video game franchise, I wait on. I think the new Ace Combat 7, I also pre-ordered, bought sight unseen, and that was good. So like Ace Combat and Virtual On are like the two video games that I'm like on board with day one.
Interesting you point that out. It's not really that different from somebody who would follow a company to whatever console they went.
Yeah.
I mean, because some people used to do that for like, I don't know, like Square.
Yep.
Or SquareSoft before they became Square Enix.
Yep.
Yeah. That Spirits Within movie was worth it, right?
Hey.
Seriously.
Almost
that
bankrupted the
was
company. Hey.
That's pretty sad. You had to be bailed out by Enix, pretty much. Anyway, beyond that though, I mean that was true for me. I pretty much followed them to Sony. Because they said we're not going to be making products for the N64, and I was like, well, that kind of decides that for me.
Because Nintendo said, yeah, we want to stick with cartridges.
Yeah, and whatever, Again, I'm not going to get into a Nintendo versus Sony debate, especially not now since they're kicking their ass.
I'm not going to get into a Nintendo versus Sony debate because they're both bad.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I'm gonna.
I'll get
Joy-Con drift. Anyone from what I hear?
I mean, so here's my thing, and that I'm not even gonna really battle on this, but I think Nintendo is good now with the Switch. Like they're finally good. They were good. They were good from like the N64 era halfway, and then they were bad up until the Switch. Discounting like their games, because of course, yes, first party Nintendo games will always be the best things on their consoles because they really know how to make games, but they don't really know how to make hardware. Sony doesn't know how to do either, and that's really the difference.
They also are really bad with security.
And Anubis just whispers in everyone's ear, Sega.
Hey,
No.
yeah, remember Sega? Remember when video game consoles were video game consoles?
To be fair, that's almost like whispering Blockbuster.
Damn. Damn. Jesus Christ, shots fired. I don't even know how to respond to that.
No. That was uncalled for.
I still have my Sega Saturn, damn it. Still good. No, but yeah, no, it's So Virtual On is one of those franchises that I will follow to a system. But who knows if we're gonna get another one with fucking Watari pieced out.
Well,
Which I mean, good on him. He's had a
another-
good career. If Virtual On is your magnum opus, you've had a good career.
Well,
Fucking
I gotta
flawless
ask.
game franchise.
I gotta ask, and then we'll move on. Real fast, Anubis. So I hear that because I don't know if you're into this franchise, but Panzer Dragoon.
Yes.
Aware of
Okay,
it.
they're making like a new one that's like a remastered of 2 or something.
Yes. So they made a remaster of the first one. I know that much.
Okay.
And
okay.
it's on the Switch, I believe, and
Okay,
naturally
cool,
they're
cool.
gonna move on to 2. What people are questioning is, so there's, I believe it's 4 games. It might be 5, and I'm missing one, but it's Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, which is Panzer Dragoon 2, Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is an RPG, is different from the first 2, and then Panzer Dragoon Orta, which came out on the Xbox, is one of the.
Actually, you're missing one.
Am I
Panzer Dragoon on the Japanese Game Gear.
on the Japanese Game Gear? Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure that one will be coming real soon.
So I'm right. It was 5, and I was missing one. But yeah, so that's what people are talking about, is whether they're going to do Panzer Dragoon, remake Panzer Dragoon Saga and remake Panzer Dragoon Orta, which that both of those are up in the air. Orta's a big game.
I do know that the original ones really go for a high fetching price.
Uh,
The
I-
Panzer Dragoon stuff.
the one that is really really high is Panzer Dragoon Saga. I think
Yeah.
I scored both the first Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon Zwei for between $60 and $80 each.
Yeah.
Which
All
things
which is on the
considered-
cheaper side of it, probably.
yeah, all things considered, that's really not bad for
Good.
for a popular old Saturn game. That isn't like that's not like Virtual Fighter 2, because that's a dime a dozen. Virtual Cop, that's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
It's really not bad.
Yeah,
Far
I
as
mean,
it's
there
not
were
like
certain
Burning
games-
Rangers, which find me a copy of Burning Rangers for under $300 challenge. Go find it. You can't. Find me a copy of Shining Wisdom for like under
Oh,
200.
jeez. No, no. It's funny you said that, because, I mean, what you were saying is true about any system, really. Though, like, there was always those dime a dozens in the cutout bin thing
Yep.
you'd see, like, at every used game store. Like, if you were looking for Sega CD games, you would always see Lethal Enforcers.
Yep.
Always.
There's a retro game store up north. I can probably go there and see Lethal Enforcers there.
Yep. The other, there was that. There was obviously Sonic CD. But you
So
would
Sonic
also...
CD I've actually never found in the wild.
Really?
Really.
Interesting.
I own Sylphied for the Sonic CD. I found that in the wild. But I've never actually found Sonic CD for the Sega CD in the wild.
To be fair, I'm thinking about a long time ago. I mean, I'm thinking way back,
Yeah.
not
But
like recently or anything.
For the Saturn, Daytona USA, Virtua Cop, Virtual Fighter 2, you're always going to find those. What you're not going to find quite as much are Virtua Fighter Remix, which is basically the remake of the original Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter Kids, you're not going to find those quite as often.
I know when
Funnily
you'll
enough,
find.
you don't find the Sonic games a whole lot for the Saturn.
I know when you see a lot, actually. It's the Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis, because nobody wanted it.
Yeah, Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis, that's dime a dozen. Sonic 3D Blast for the Saturn, the best version. That
one's probably a lot harder.
you
Fine.
you would think it's very common, but it's not. I've only seen it once in the wild, and you better believe I snatched that up. It's the best version of the game.
Well, it's interesting, because I'll tell people, like, I have a pristine copy of Earthbound.
Ooh.
Like, and when I say pristine, I mean I actually have the box, like the giant box that it came in.
Yep.
That comes with like the sort of like guide thing that it came with. It has the scratch and sniffs in it.
Ooh.
They've never been used. They probably still smell. I'm not
I
gonna
remember
try.
that from the magazine.
Yeah, you don't want to scratch and snip, not because it'll smell bad, but because you don't want to ruin it.
Exactly. I mean, I've never even taken the book, I think, out. The game, on the other hand, I have, of course, because when I got it, it was to play it, not to collect it.
Yeah,
per
exactly.
se.
But so like that's when you get into the point where like it's me and like the first virtual on game where I have like 4 of them.
I will say that's probably my what's the word here? That's sort of my holy grail that I actually have, is probably that, in terms of probably fetching a price for games. I mean, I also have an original Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
That's another one that fetches a decent price.
So like
Again,
I've never quite priced my games, but I do have some ones that are like, so definitely some ones that are rare, some ones that are like limited edition, special edition, that kind of thing.
well, it's funny because I'll tell people I have these things. For some people will actually just say I'm full of shit or something. then I'll send them a picture and they'll be like, "It's like, what? Where the fuck did you get that?" And I'll be
Oh,
like,
ye of little
well,
faith.
it's just like, where did you find something like that? And I said, I bought it when it was new.
Hmm.
And then they're just like, wait, what?
There you go.
You know, it's like, no. I got in fucking H.G. Wells' time machine and fucking went back to the mid '90s, beat some kid's ass, and took it out of his car.
Because that's the thing. Like, we're at a point where people won't believe you if you say you got X, Y, or Z when it was new.
Like it's like Pixar didn't happen. It's like, okay. It's like, and I'll be like, okay, here's a 12th birthday where I got game XYZ. Or you know what I mean, or whatever. Here's a picture. Fucking, I'm not even a teenager yet. Here.
And meanwhile, my stupid ass had to rebuild my entire Saturn library. Which, granted, like fucking, I didn't really own any rare games back then, but I had fucking Sonic 3D Blast at least.
The good
I had
version.
Nice, the good version. I had Sonic 3D Blast. I had Nights into Dreams. I had Clockwork Knight 2. I had to get all that shit back.
I'll be real with you. I actually did play the 3D Blast Genesis version, and I was like, why the fuck is this game popular?
I mean, it fucking.
I played, but I got bored.
It's so broken.
3D Blast is not a good Sonic game. I will say that as someone who played Sonic 3D Blast as his first Sonic game, which is it's like it's a miracle I'm playing Sonic games now, but Sonic 3D Blast was my first Sonic game. I'll be the first to say that it is not a good Sonic game except for the special stage on the Saturn version.
I will say this, it could have been worse. You could have been playing Sonic Spinball.
Oh, I entirely would not be playing Sonic games if my first exposure to Sonic was Sonic Spinball.
No, because
I was exposed to Sonic Spinball, and I knew it wasn't good back then. What I really wanted to do was play Sonic 2 and go to Casinopolis. Because that's basically what Sonic Spinball was supposed to be, what it should have been. But
well, yeah, it's like, how did you fuck up this concept?
Because it was developed. It was developed.
It's rhetorical, bud. I'm not asking that. I know that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you fuck this up? On paper, this thing writes itself. It's like, it's literally just a game based around Casino Night.
You really don't even need to make a new game.
Also, for some reason, it was 30 frames per second instead of 60.
Yeah, it's good. They just did make a good game.
I was like, why does this look crappier at the time? I couldn't figure.
Go from Sonic 2 to Sonic Spinball. I was like, why is this one bad? The last one was good. Why is this one not good?
Because
it's not. I mean, I can forgive the difficulty. I can forgive the frame rate. Blah blah blah. I didn't even really realize that when I was a kid. Probably didn't care. But what I can't forgive is the shitty controls. Because that makes the game just unfun to play.
Sonic the Hedgehog is a one-button game.
Yeah, and
That's all you need.
this is even more so. You literally are using directional pad and the flippers. That's all you're doing. Like how can you mess that up?
Okay.
But yeah.
Anything else? Anything?
Also, there was a thing that kind of blew up on Twitter that I do want to mention. So like, this was a couple weeks ago. I think this was like right after we put out the previous episode, like the one
Okay, so what? 3 weeks ago?
yeah, about 3 weeks ago.
So
Like the
a
day
fortnight,
after.
a week.
Yeah, the day afterward. There's this guy who's popular in like the anti woke circles on nerd Twitter, like otaku adjacent Twitter.
That's an interesting way to describe it, but yeah.
And so he put out this dumb tweet along the lines of, if you're the kind of person who watches like Naruto or Bleach or One Piece or Dragon Ball or so it's basically naming a whole bunch of shonen fighting anime.
Mhm.
You're not a real anime fan and get out of the fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first of all, this is a similar sentiment to or on a similar subject as something I had previously said, where like you can be a fan of things that happen to be anime, but not be an anime fan. Nobody talks about that, but this is kind of different because like, okay, now we're trying to dictate who's in and out of the anime fandom, and so like, we talk about the whole gatekeeping thing, and this is the kind of thing that brings that entire discussion backward. Because like, okay, we can't pretend we need to stop pretending that we can stop people from watching anime. Like that's
Yeah,
what the gatekeeping
I
thing
mean,
is
like,
about.
what are you going to do? Place,
Like this is the
place
joke I
a
make all the time.
armed
Where
guard somewhere?
yeah, this is the joke I make all the time. Where oh, people talk about how bad it is for people of color in the anime subculture. I'm like, yeah, it's weird. I walk into the video store and I guess they push a button under the
Video
counter
store.
and a fucking linebacker from the Denver Broncos comes and tries to block me from the anime shelf. I don't know what's happening.
While wearing a MAGA hat.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's so like, obviously you can't stop people from watching anime, of course. The whole gatekeeping thing, as far as we and the people who understand that talk about it, is we need to make sure that the people who gain positions of influence are actually about that life insofar as being a part of the anime subculture and respecting what the anime subculture is about. But you get people with big followings on Twitter that make dumb points in 280 characters, and what happens with that is creates a that creates a vacuum to where people who want to look like heroes get to jump in and say gatekeeping is bad. And it's like cool, fucking cool in the gang. All right, go. It's free. It's free. You get to look like a big hero by jumping in and saying gatekeeping is bad because some guy said something dumb. But like that's my whole thing. It's the whole normie, all the normies people really just hold back the entire gatekeeping discussion, and it's frustrating.
Well, it's kind of missing the point. The idea of gatekeeping isn't to prevent person XYZ from liking that thing XYZ. You can't even do that. Like you can't break into their house and confiscate their DVD or Blu-ray player or whatever, or their internet connection, or for streaming or whatever.
It is easier than it has ever been to watch anime.
Yeah, so that's not what anybody means by that. They're talking about getting these goobers that fucking are in these positions of power that have the ability basically to call the shots. That's what they're talking about. Those folks.
But yeah, truth be told, people. Truth be told, when you make retarded points like that, it just makes it really easy for people to jump in and say, gatekeeping's bad. I'm gonna be the hero and say the safe thing that nobody else really disagrees with. But yeah, it's bad to try to stop people from watching anime.
It's also impossible.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you have some sort of ability to hijack their computer systems or their electronics from wherever you're at, yeah, that's not happening.
but so
Uh,
the problem then becomes it's it is easy to say so it's easy to say that gatekeeping is bad, but it's not easy to actually it's not easy to address it where it actually occurs, which isn't on the level of the re-normies people. Those people have no power.
no.
But when people who have institutional power in the anime subculture, when you get to a point where okay, that you got people with in positions of influence and they're kind of calling the shots socially. They're kind of calling the shots as to what becomes the norms within the subculture, and some of those norms kind of hold certain people in low esteem undeservedly. So
So
yeah, like one of the things I said in response is okay. If you're gonna do the gatekeeping thing, you need to start from okay. What do we do about all the people who do legitimate damage? Like all the predators, the narcissists, the sociopaths. What do we do about those people? Because when you start on the re-normies thing, it just makes you look like a butthurt nerd, and there's not a single person on the planet who wants to be on the side of butthurt nerds.
pretty much, I mean, you're going to be picked on by even other nerds. I mean that's really the reality of that. I mean, nobody likes butthurt nerds. They just don't.
Yeah.
It's like
Nobody
I mean,
will willingly be associated with butthurt nerds.
no. Hi, Colony Drop. Anyway, continuing on, we should probably get around to our main topic. Not that it really segues very nicely off of that, but at least I don't think it does.
No,
Well, I guess
it
you could
really does
consider
not.
it disappointing.
It's kind of disappointing. There's like, I mean, to just quickly recap the past 3 weeks, there was a thing where people went buck wild about Iridu from the new Dragon Maid season. There was this
And
one.
once again, seasonal culture strikes again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
a
Are we really sure that we like the seasonal anime culture thing? But to be fair,
Somebody was arguing with me about that. It's like no, this has nothing to do with that. Yes, it does.
it has a lot to do with it. It's that and there are other paradigms that are playing into it, particularly around this time, but that I'm not going to get into. You had that.
Right beyond the scope of this one podcast.
There was this one voice actress, not a voice actor, no, a translator.
Yeah.
Who
Oh yeah, the one that was bragging that they purposely mistranslated something.
the one that was bragging that she translated Yatsura as incels.
Yeah, which is we all know that's a common that's a totally fucking Japanese concept and word. Not a fucking American colloquialism.
Yo, when are translators gonna stop pretending that they're not just doing this to piss people off?
Which they are. Because what ends up happening is they say something, they wait a minute, and then they go, oh, my menchies, and then go into lockdown mode.
I mean, if they're if they're not doing it to piss people off, they're doing a really shitty job at making it not look
if
like they're
not
doing it.
it looks like
not,
they are.
Exactly.
And what's the maxim again?
Don't have a conflict of interest, or don't have something that appears to be a conflict of interest, because it's just as bad.
Yeah, basically that applied. What's the word I'm looking for here? I'm fucking a little out of it.
but it's annoying, because these are the people that are supposed to be like in a position to contextualize this stuff, and they're just
really just using it as a petty I'm gonna insert my bullshit.
Yeah, they're abusing their position to put in shit that the only reason they're putting it in that way is because they know it'll make people they don't like angry.
Right. It'd be like if you went to, I don't know, give me a place with a drive-through food.
Wendy's.
Burger King.
Okay. Well, I heard Wendy's first. Okay. It'd be like if you went through, not that Wendy's would do this, but if you went through Wendy's and you ordered something, and basically they kept saying your order back wrong, and then when you went to pick it up, not only was it wrong, but they spat on you too.
Yeah.
And then when you complained about it, they said, it's like, hey, you got in the way of the spit. And that...
maybe you should go back and cook your own Wendy's burger.
Yeah, go home and cook your own, square burger. And make weird comments on their social media.
Oh, if you don't like the translation, maybe you should learn Japanese. No, maybe you should do your fucking job.
Yeah, just imagine somebody who works like fucking cleaning up puke or something saying that shit. Hey, if you don't like crappy floors, stop puking on them.
Yeah. Isn't also the irony is that a lot of these people do kind of know, not the ones translating, the viewers. They kind of know a little bit of Japanese.
Well, yeah,
they know enough to know. They know enough to know two things.
A real Japanese word.
What on another level, they kind of don't need to know Japanese, because these people are telling on themselves constantly.
Oh yeah.
The woman sent a tweet, said ha ha ha, basically saying ha ha ha. I did
this thing.
I just translated this word as incel, which says number one.
Give me accusations and hate mail. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. It says number one. The fact that she needed to say that probably means that
it was calculated.
Not only was it calculated, probably means it's not a particularly correct translation.
No.
That's the way I feel about it. And then number two, it means that she did it precisely to piss people off. And if she didn't do it to piss people off, then maybe
you're doing a bad job looking like you did.
Yeah, maybe don't go to twitter.com about it. If it's just part of your job, maybe just do your fucking job.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that, see, if it wasn't the industry, the Western side so insular, what the person doing that is such like career suicide.
Well, so here's the thing, dude. Not too long after, she went, "Oh, my mentions are blowing up. By the way, I didn't actually commit to that."
Oh, she got yanked on by a higher up.
Fucking the higher ups probably came to her with the bonk stick and said, "Yeah, don't fucking do that. Maybe do your fucking job."
People went over your head and were getting complaints.
You're like 30, 40 years old. Knock it off.
Yeah. Well, and here's the weasel.
Imagine being a grown ass adult in a professional position like that, where you're translating Japanese cartoons for a living, but you're doing it professionally. You have a job doing it. You're not a volunteer. You're not some person in college. I know some Japanese. I'll volunteer to translate some fan translations. No, you're doing a legitimate. You're doing a legitimate job for a legitimate company in a legitimate release, and being that concerned about dunking on people on the internet. Imagine being a grown ass human being and being that concerned about
internet shit.
Not just internet shit, using your job position to dunk on people on the internet over some internet shit. Imagine being that concerned about that.
Yeah, I mean, Well, here's the weasel way they get around that. They're like, well, I'm a localizer. They'll say some bullshit like that. Like
Yeah.
oh, there's no such thing as a direct translation, or it needs, which
That-
on some level that's true, but
It
let's
needs
be-
some
let's
punching
be
up.
real here. There's two schools of thought on translation. There's the direct one, which is usually a little iffy, simply for the fact that things and phrases and stuff don't really come out the same way if you do it that way, which is why most people choose to do it in the spirit of what they're saying. So it makes more
100
sense.
years too early.
That entire dichotomy is a gigantic trap, massive
is.
trap.
Oh, it is, but they use it. They use that as leverage to excuse them doing that shit.
Anyway,
It's a localization. Yeah, localized properly. Then that's number one. Number two, this is also something that like people closer to our side kind of inflict on themselves because they use the word localization pejoratively. Like, that's not a translation; it's a localization. Everything that's translated is localized. You can't just one-to-one translate things. It doesn't work. You wouldn't be able to understand it.
If you know any other language, regardless of what it is, if it's not your own, you'll know that.
But then they use the word localization to kind of duck and weave around having to actually address. Localization, yeah, sure, but why did you put in like patriarchal societal norms into this thing? That's not even what she said.
Which is largely about a titty anime, a lesbian titty anime at that.
Yeah, okay, localization, sure. Why did you change the line to...
Why would you shove something that's clearly some, like, first year fucking women's studies group bullshit in there?
Yeah, it's like, okay, localization, sure, but why would you translate... don't call me... Why would you translate this into don't slut shame me? That's obviously not what she said. She's not...
Yeah.
That's obviously... She's not the kind of person who would say that. Why did you translate it this way? Like that's the whole thing. Is like they use localization to fucking Macross missile dodge their way around
like that.
having to actually address what people's actual problems are.
Playing fast and loose Harmony Gold style.
Yeah, fucking.
Well, the thing was, even back in the days of like Digimon, and they would say like things like "my bad," and I'm like, they don't say that. That's not a
different.
Japanese.
That's somewhat different in the sense that that's aimed at children.
Oh, I know.
It's also a common colloquialism. It's like
I was able to be perceptive enough to notice that.
Right, but like that's something like regular ass people commonly say. You don't hear regular ass people talking about patriarchal societal norms. It doesn't happen.
No.
Especially talking about dragon girls with giant tits. Just saying.
Yeah. All right, I think we should go on to the topic, which was my idea again.
VZ came up with the idea. We're calling it top 9 anime disappointments.
Yeah, this is basically...
Anubis, I know what you need to do. You need to have your finger next to the fail horn. I think you're going to be needing it.
Do I have the fail horn? Yes, I do.
This is anime that we were kind of hyped for.
So how should we do this? Should we just like you do one, I do one, Anubis does one, or whoever does whatever order,
we'll round robin it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of just doing 3 apiece and then moving on, let's kind of. Yeah. I think that generates discussion better when you do it that way.
All right.
Again, assuming everybody's seen some of these. I mean,
who should start?
It was your idea. I think you should start.
All right, I'll go first. So this is a recent one because it's, and you've seen you've seen this, or at least you definitely know about it. It's was the most talked about show, one of the most talked about last year.
I know what it is then. Yeah.
And a concept I should have maybe liked it more, but it just was kind of That's it. Nothing really.
Just made me want to donate to the Red Cross.
Yeah. So I'm talking about Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. It just was kind of...
That has to be a double entendre, right? She's got big tits that are bouncing and hanging around.
Here's the thing.
That's not a coincidence they called it that, right?
Here's the thing about even her chest thing. They didn't even bother to do like when she walks, like having them bounce up and down
jiggle
a lot.
or sway or whatever.
Yeah. They could have done so much with that. The animation was just not very good. It was like, it was very bland, blah.
It was something that. How to word this? Proof of concept was okay, but in execution it was just kind of eh.
Yeah, I mean, and it's getting another season. I'm not even going to bother with the second season.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I know it was popular in the same way that when a show is running, it's popular.
I did enjoy the whole like, where's she get the big titties and all that, and I love the social media outrage was hilarious. So that
it's just like why her back, and it's just like
I'm gonna redesign her.
Yeah, it's like her back. What about her spine? It's like that's like complaining about a character lifting weights and being like, oh, I bet they're gonna be hurting tomorrow.
She's a cartoon character.
I mean, come on, this is just silly. I mean, yeah, if you don't like it, that's one thing, but don't say dumb shit like that.
I don't know. I liked what I saw of Uzaki-chan. I didn't finish it, but
why is Buster Bunny blue? Bunnies aren't blue.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there you go. See,
why are Saiyans Aryans when they go Super Saiyan?
Oh,
white supremacy! Somebody actually did say that, by the way.
Of course they did.
I'm not even fucking kidding. I actually saw that.
I believe you. That's what's bad. I believe you.
It's like, their eyes turn blue and their hair goes, yellow, and I was just like,
no, I enjoyed what I saw of Uzaki-chan.
Racist.
It's just like the whole yellow hair is honestly, I mean, basically, I believe Toriyama basically said he did that so he didn't have to color it in the manga anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like at first I thought that was a joke, but then I looked it up and he actually did say that. And it was like, it just makes me not have to color their hair all the time. And I was just like,
yeah, because in the manga they wouldn't be yellow; they would be like white.
Yeah, it's just white. Yeah, so oh no, that's even more so. Nah, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I mean,
did enjoy
I know
what I
the
saw
manga was popular,
and it's certainly not like anime of the season material. I thought it was good, at least.
Thought it was entertaining in a way that's like it was entertaining when I was watching it, but afterwards I don't see myself having much attachment to it. I mean,
yeah, well, there are a lot of shows.
Sense.
There are a lot of shows like that too, where you watch them one time through, and you're like,
we used to call this back in the old day a rental-worthy show.
Yeah.
Something you wouldn't buy, but something on the weekend you would rent just to kill time or whatever. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't know about your situation with rental stores and whatnot. But I've mentioned this on the show many times, but I used to have a thing where you could rent 5 for 5 as far as movies go. This is even before the days of DVDs, really. And this is VHS. And like every weekend, I would go to my local area and pick up 5 for $5. You get to keep them for 5 days. It was, and I would just grab stuff at random. Like, I haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah, see, I wish I kind of rented more anime in the 90s. I surprisingly didn't do that as much. I mean, there was some stuff I did rent and see, but not as much as I should have.
Not gonna lie, it was kind of weird watching Evangelion and stuff like that, but also running across Rotsuki Doji.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to tell you why that was a bit of a jump. Yep. And it was random. It was like, I can't hardly even pronounce this. I'm gonna rent it.
Yeah. I mean, I did rent stuff like MD Geist, the Street Fighter movie.
I mean, but here's the thing. When I rented that, I actually wasn't really familiar, not only with its reputation, but or its content.
Right.
So it was completely fucking a jolt to the system by the time the whole basketball thing's over. And yeah, I can't go any further without getting into spoilers.
And I'm sure it was the movie version, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
We didn't even have the OVA version yet.
Yeah, the movie was the thing that most people saw.
Which trust me, still plenty fucked up enough. You know, I mean, like if you can't get a hold of the OVA version, trust me, it's still warped enough.
Yeah, say my brother showed me the movie version first, and then the OVA version after. Because the
I mean, they
version
are
is kind
better. I'm not gonna say they're not, but
the movie version, I was like, oh, all right, this is kind of interesting. You know,
as an aside, it's also probably one of the only hentai you could actually say that you could remove the porn and it would still be cool to watch.
yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you agree with that? Because I mean, it's got other stuff. First off,
I just see it as a apocalyptic, you know.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
Erotic.
I gotta give massive props to the designer of the demons.
Yeah,
like they were really good at it.
Yeah,
like there was some just really fucked up shit in there, and I met Mr. Toshio Maeda. I met the guy. I mean,
well, the anime is even more like over the top than
yeah, that is true. Like he even said that, like, he's like, oh yeah, the people who took it and made what they made out of it really made it even more fucked up, and kudos to them.
Yeah, thank you, Shoko Aida. Okay, I forgot his name, but the guy, it was this writer that was, he was a writer now for like Full Metal Alchemist, but before he did like name any, almost not all, but almost any messed up OVA of the 80s and 90s, and chances are this person's name was attached to it, and it's like, makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it was really funny because, like, Mr. Maeda basically said that, I mean, outside of the jokes that he was talking about how he was pissed off at this one guy who ripped off Leiji Matsumoto that irritated him. But he says, I think he actually did some children's novels or something at some point. I seem to recall him mentioning something about that. Which that's not really a surprise if you know anything about the way Japanese publishing works.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's
a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Uzaki-chan here. So, I mean, what was disappointing about it? Did you expect it to be more lewd than it was, or?
Yeah. Like I said, they could have gone so much more. Like, even if production value wise, they could have had like her running around and have like I had no problem with her being annoying to the main character and all that. That wasn't really
a lot of people, that was their problem.
It's kind of the point of the anime.
Yeah.
I mean, I
like I said, it just could have like gone bigger and better if you know, have her
bigger and better. He's talking about the show, not her tits.
Yeah, it was just very, very like bland, standard production level.
Here's how I know that.
I did like the background music though. That was
especially when they were in that like cafe, like they were in sort of like it had that sort of coffee house kind of like quality to it. It's kind of lo-fi almost.
Yeah,
just sort of casual. I mean, if you've ever been in a place like that, not necessarily in Japan, but anywhere, it sort of has that mentality. No, I mean, but I understand if you were expecting it to be like more, I don't know, Kiss X Sis level or something like that.
Well, maybe not even at that level, but just a little
high school
bit more, like,
DxD or something.
Well, just a little bit like, again, you have this thing, you design a character like that.
Oh yeah, and it's just like I kind of wanted you to make her squeeze them more, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, they kind of did stuff like that, like her getting caught in the bush and her butt hanging out. And
yeah.
Which I expected more of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't I didn't think it was a bad show. I thought it was okay.
Like I said, I didn't think it was bad. It was just, but we're talking about disappointments.
Right, and this was your pick, so obviously you got to say what you were disappointed by.
Yes. Okay, I think, all right, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Right.
Sure. My first pick of it is Infinite Stratos, surprising absolutely nobody. Biggest anime disappointment.
He's ranted on here about it before.
So, here's my thing with Infinite Stratos. It started out with a great premise, and I like every element that makes up Infinite Stratos. Okay, you got the
I
harem
saw a
aspect.
couple episodes of that.
Where you
so.
should probably keep it that way, VC. It's not very good. You just got the harem aspect where, okay, it's one dude who's able to pilot the things, and the rest of them are all female. Okay.
Which
So
they don't explain why he's able to pilot.
No, then I really don't care. They might explain it in Infinite Stratos 2. I don't know. I didn't watch Infinite Stratos 2 for obvious reasons. But yeah, okay, he's going to the girls' academy, and now, okay, it's gonna get this harem that's gonna build up around him, and they've got the powered armor battles. But the whole thing is that, okay, these things are basically not to be used in actual combat to actually try and hurt and kill people. It's just a sporting thing, which I'm great at. I'm cool in the gang. I loved Zoid's New Century. I loved Gun Build Fighters.
Had an element of that to an extent, in the sense that like it was like a game.
Yeah, it's I like when
non-injured combat.
Well, it's like I like when things can be more lighthearted and kind of just. Oh, here's what I get. Here's what I like. I like when anime creates like drama and whatnot, drama and suspense and all that stuff over frivolous things.
It can be really entertaining. And quite frankly, if you hate that, anime is probably going to be a tough sell on a lot of areas for you.
You're gonna narrow yourself down to a set of anime, but that's
probably movies and OVAs. To be honest,
that's the reason I liked Girls and Panzer so much. That's why I liked the first Gundam Build Fighters so much.
Strike Witches. I mean, like, hey, there's missing underwear. We got to make a whole episode about it.
If you're able to create drama out of something completely frivolous, is why I like Zoid's New Century so much. But episode 4 of Infinite Stratos. Here comes the unmanned IS unit, and it's aiming into the spectators and it's shooting at the spectators. Okay, we got to save the spectators. I'm like, okay.
Kill spectators.
We're throwing out the entire. We are throwing out the entire premise of this anime in order to make it like every dime a dozen halfway mecha show that's been put out since Gundam, and not on board.
Squandering potential, in your opinion.
Completely squandered all its potential, and it didn't recover. I watched the entire show. It didn't recover.
Oh, ouch. And I mean, again, obviously my disappointment with this is not nearly as high as yours. In fact, I think mine rubbed off from yours. But I will say one thing that it did pretty well. I'll give it this. Nice character designs.
Excellent character design. Fantastic character design. Fantastic.
It just makes you mad because it's like so many good girl designs and stuff in this. Why did they have to be in this lame show?
It's a waste. It's a complete waste. Excellent character design. Excellent mechanical design. Great concept. Completely squandered by episode 4.
So, I mean, that was pretty succinct. Really.
Don't, like, please believe, it's not, like, this isn't just me hating on the show. I have one of those $250 quarter-scale bunny girl figures of Cecilia Alcott.
She's a hottie.
Fucking, I'm probably invested in this show more than most people who like Infinite Stratos. But
yeah, so
I remember liking the teacher one.
It's a fucking.
I remember liking the teacher in that show.
The excellent character designs, all of them, every single one.
Like every single character really jumped out as being both visually sort of vibrant looking. It totally sounds gay that I said that, but you know what I mean though. It's like I hate to put it this way, but you know how like Pretty Cure is like really colorful.
Yeah.
It kind of has that quality to it. Like not in terms of the look, but in terms of using a lot of kind of vibrant and bright colors, palettes, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, It's such a good show, completely squandered.
Okay, and speaking of squandering,
Go for
I'm
it.
going to throw my first one out here.
Okay.
Divergence Eve.
This is also a show that I might actually
Okay.
be more invested in than most people who like it.
Okay. So what's my disappointment? Okay. Where to start? Okay. It's one of those shows where on paper I should like it. Because it's like, okay, it's sci-fi. The character designs are overly sexualized in a way that probably would piss off the entire payroll of A&N. But somehow it doesn't work. It's like it feels like sort of like info dumps a lot of the time.
Well, so it's like they tried to make a hardcore like sci-fi anime with
While
with,
you're
like,
being bombarded by titties all the time, which
Yeah.
in principle it doesn't even bother me.
it's
there
not
are
a
ways-
bad
there are-
concept.
Ways
It's like
that
okay,
works.
I like hard sci-fi. I like tits. I'm okay. 2 + 2 = 4. Or 1 + 1 = 2. I'm with you so far.
Not according to some
just-
academic circles now.
Don't remind me about that. Anyway,
Sorry.
to get back to non-mathematical equations here. No, there's just something that doesn't work, and also, it feels really boring. There's like this weird dragging, kind of drabby quality to it. That's like now some sci-fi has that anyway, because again, a lot of sci-fi does have info dumps or a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot to process, and sometimes writers aren't particularly good at spreading that out or utilizing it in ways where it's doled out sort of over time. It's more just like being blasted at all times.
Yeah.
In between this, you're supposed to be paying attention while you're being bombarded by tits.
That's it. Yeah, it's trying to do the science thing.
It really does look like character designs that probably were ultimately meant for something else.
Yeah, I could believe that.
And sometimes there are shows like that where you'll look at it like character designs and go, you know, this was probably originally supposed to be porn. Or something like that, and it just sort of got canceled or discarded, and they just wanted to it's a waste to not use the character designs.
It feels like Divergence Eve is trying to do too much in one show.
Yeah, it really is.
I've seen shows like that where it's
and yes, that is a thing. You can try to do too much and fail at everything, basically.
Oh, absolutely. Did you get to the second season, Misaki Chronicles?
I didn't even get past I think I didn't even make it completely through the first DVD.
Yeah.
I kept falling asleep.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not
that's
even
like that
fighting.
show.
Don't.
That's like that show. Not to that's almost like that show, but I'm not putting it on my list.
You can see where that would be, like, okay, you see a preview or you see the designs and go, okay, this looks like it might be interesting. It's sci-fi. The characters are, kind of like bodacious in ways that like they normally aren't in this type of thing, but that's okay.
Also, they're trying to do like ecchi and sci-fi and space opera and
It's
horror and psychological.
You know what it is? It's almost like they're trying to shove High School DxD into Galaxy Express, and it doesn't work.
They're trying to do too much, and like you gotta.
That's like that show Star Driver from
It's
Bones.
like you really have to be like juggling with spiked balls or something for this to fuck up.
You have to. Well, it's like you have to be careful when you're trying to do that much with an anime. Like Nadesco makes it work. But
Sure.
Nadesco is a really good anime.
Well, I think the reason Nadesco works though is because not only are they not trying to bombard you with tits all the time, but not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it's because it's sort of winking and nodding at you at the same time.
Well, yeah. Well, that's one of the things they're trying to do. In addition to like
It's
telling
almost-
you
yeah,
a
it's kind of
serious
meta.
space
It's one of
opera
the
and telling you
earlier
a
attempts at
serious sci-fi thing and giving you all
And the show
the
within the show.
technobabble.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But like, Nadesco tries to do more than Divergence Eve does. The difference is Divergence Eve just isn't good at it.
No, it's like, how can you make a hard sci-fi that's like just hyper boobalicious this bad,
Which like
or
by the
just boring?
way, don't try and watch Misaki Chronicles if you didn't finish Divergence, because I I didn't. They try to do more in Misaki Chronicles, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be one of those things where somebody's going to make me watch all of it as a dare, and like, and have the punishment for failing to do it be something really
I
nasty.
was like, you're also talking to a guy who owns both.
$50. Watch the whole show.
$50 is
Well,
not fucking. Listen. You'd have to fucking
$100.
pay. You'd have to pay me quite a bit.
VZ,
And I'm the guy who owns both of them.
VZ. For the amount, for $50, that's not worth it at all. For that amount of time that you would have to spend watching Divergence Eve, you could actually just go to work and make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Than $50. So that's not a good deal. It's really not.
Alright,
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I know that's sort of a cliche pick because I've ranted about it before, but hey, he ranted about Infinite Stratus.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to rant about that.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it, VZ.
I didn't pick Aiken because I thought that was going to suck from the get go.
Yeah.
So
that's like an easy pick anyway.
Yeah,
That's like
that's almost like, oh, come on, that's low grade. It's not. How could I be disappointed? I knew it was going to suck.
All right,
Okay,
VZ.
moving on.
okay. I guess back to me.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. So another new one. From this one, another one from last year. And this one I was really pumped for. Because it's done by the character designs are done by the same one that did Lucky Star.
Mm.
And I'm like, I was so hoping this was gonna be like the new Lucky Star in a way.
Big shoes to fill.
And so the name of the show is the show is Maesetsu. So the premise is that they're like supposed to be cute girls, but also comedians doing Japanese stand up. Big problem there, Japanese stand up, which is kind of like one of those things that's like a cultural thing.
So is it like is it basically Japanese observational humor?
Do you know what Manzai? You ever see what Manzai routine is?
Probably. It's not ringing a bell though. I'm sure I have. So what's the deal with Kenji six pack?
The Japanese Manzai is more like where, they have the smart guy and the stupid guy. Oh no, they have the idiot and then the serious person.
Straight man and the moron. Yeah.
That's it. That's they're very into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That okay. Fair enough.
So the humor part ended up not really being that funny, and so all you're left with is just the cute girls, the girls being cute stuff, which is kind of like, I could get this from other stuff done much better.
Yeah. I mean, Japanese humor, it is sort of tied down like that. I mean, and that's true from some other places too. That's not really just them. I mean, there's the Middle East is like that too, to an extent. There's the kind of humor there is, if you're not actually from there and you're not living in there, it probably doesn't resonate as much.
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to like fucking fart jokes over here or something, you know?
And well, the thing is, even in Japan, it didn't really garner attention. It was kind of like one of those.
Yeah, because I heard of the title, but I didn't see much about it.
No, I didn't watch all of it. I think I watched about like 5 or 6 episodes. And then I just was like, all right, I'm not gonna bother with the rest. Sorry. But like I said, I was pumped for it because of it had the Lucky Star character designs. So I was gonna be like, oh, this is like gonna be the new Lucky Star, and it just did not turn out to be that.
what studio did it?
Studio Gokumi.
Okay.
That's the one
I was gonna say because it wasn't KyoAni. I doubt.
No. Gokumi is the one that does Kinero Mosaic.
Okay.
They're a good studio.
No. I wasn't like trying to knock on them or anything.
No.
No, I was just curious because it's like, well, it wasn't KyoAni, so probably had a different team there working on it.
Yeah. I don't think there was a manga based for it too either.
Oh, was it basically just straight up original?
Yeah.
Didn't
I mean, they
have,
might
like,
have made a manga with it, along with it, but it
Okay.
was straight up original for it.
Interesting. So is your disappointment in it because you were expecting Lucky Star 2 or
Yeah, I was expecting another type of Lucky Star. I was expecting it to be funny since it's about comedians. and it didn't really.
Holy
I mean,
shit.
the main girl's impression does impression of Shin-chan in the first episode. That was probably the only thing. It's like Shin-chan. It was impression of her doing Shin-chan, who's also doing an impression of the doors of a train opening up. So it's like double impression. That was maybe the only thing that I found funny. But again, you have to know who Shin-chan is.
Yeah, so that almost just sounds like some sort of Seinfeld-ish disaster. Like it's like it's comedy about comedy, except it's not funny. Okay, then that means it actually isn't like Seinfeld.
No, and for some reason,
Ouch.
and that show got licensed too. So I don't know who's gonna want to buy that.
Huh? I've seen other shows of arguably less quality get licensed. Divergent Eve.
Yeah, I was about to say.
See, I almost see I know that why they do it because of the whole streaming thing. They
Well,
wanna
not
get
only
more-
that, but I think they also do a lot of package deals.
I actually don't think the package deal thing is quite as prevalent as it used to be.
No.
Okay,
that
yeah.
was a more older.
That was
right,
more like
that was the ADV era where they did that.
2008.
Like it's like,
2007.
if you want high profile thing, you have to take these 7 things that you've never even heard of before.
Yeah, exactly.
And that nobody else has heard of before outside of, some real diehards here.
It's just I'm usually not as hard on Funimation as you guys, but this is kind of my argument for why Funimation doesn't need to sit there and have to mass license everything just so that way they stamp out the competition.
Well, it's kind of the business model at this point.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. This if we're going in the order I think we are, this is going to be an interesting conversation.
So, remember not too long ago when I talked about how I really like when anime can create drama out of frivolous things? We got these giant mecha, but we're just battling them for fun. We don't really try and kill each other. We got these powered armors, but we're just battling them for fun until episode 4. So one anime I really liked was Gundam Build Fighter, because this is exactly this.
I love the first Build Fighters.
We've stopped pretending that Gundam isn't a toy commercial. Now we're just fighting the toys.
Yeah.
And it's great because they create some genuine drama, genuine suspense, genuine action out of kids fighting with their toys on the magic field that makes the toys move.
There's a lot of winks and nudges and sort of like references. And
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
If you watch Gundam, you start to get okay, cool. I
This
recognize
person is
these people who
dressed
died.
like so and so, or
I recognize these people who died in this OVA. Yeah, cool.
yeah, and
It's great that they're nice and happy in this show now after getting
Yeah.
brutally killed in this OVA. But so you get that, and then okay, they're making the sequel. Gundam Build Fighters Try.
Dun dun dun.
And I'm like, cool, let's go. I'd like
I
to.
almost heard you say MILF Fighters
No
Try.
fighters, right?
well, hey,
Well, fuck it, not even, cause where are they?
well,
Where are
yeah,
those characters?
we like the mom character from that franchise, right?
So, Build Fighters Try comes out, and I always you almost want to call it Gundam Build Fighters Try Hard because that's what they're doing. It's like
Ouch.
it's like everyone became a dick over this children's plastic model game overnight.
So basically, like a Gundam forum, where people are arguing between Fetties and Zeeks.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and it's that they're too dramatic about it. Like they're acting like it's not a game anymore.
Yeah,
So
It's
it's
like-
that the designs just aren't good. Like
Yeah, that too. They didn't take as much. Like the first one had more imagination with the concept of take anything and have them fight each other.
hmm
yeah.
Plus, it gave it just an excuse to take things from different shows and smack them against each other.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love that idea.
It's just like, hey, let's grab this thing from, I don't know, Seed versus, I don't know, Stardust Memory.
But so like they also had this is a weird word to use in this context, but it had representation. Like any kind of mobile suit you could think of had its moment in the sun. Like
Mhm.
you got Homeboy with his fucking one-winged angel Sephiroth custom Wing Zero. You got the dude with you got the obvious Char counterpart
Right.
with
right.
the red Zaku obviously. Then he comes in here with a Confer. When was the last time you've seen a Confer outside of 0080?
Oh my! How I missed that death machine.
You got the twins that deploy with the GM sniper, and they deploy the extra little thing that scoots
Right.
around and drops troops.
Yep. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But so like then you come into Build Fighters Try, and at first I'm pumped. Okay, you got the young
We're the
kid.
same.
Well, more of the same, but it's like, okay, you got the young kid and he's just getting into Gunpla. And I'm like, okay, cool. His first machine is a Dom, an MS-09. I'm like, whew, we're doing this? Because I'm pumped. If this character, like, before like the mid-season upgrade paradigm. But like,
Right. Which
it's gonna
if
go
you're
in
watching a Gundam show,
yeah, but like,
that's been,
in an MS-09, that's gonna be the main Gundam. Let's go. But no, the end of the first episode, it cracks open and reveals a burning Gundam variant.
I was going to say a better show. No.
I wish. It reveals a burning Gundam variant. Okay, fine. It's the martial arts kid. Of course, he's gonna do the hand-to-hand combat thing. I don't necessarily like that, but okay. But
I mean,
here's the biggest disappointment in this show. I swear to God. I'm gonna send you guys this image, and then I'm gonna post this in the IRC. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the powered GM cardigan. I know the name sounds weird, but it's a powered GM from 0083. So you've got the basic GM, but it's also got the reinforced legs and the upgraded backpack. And then it's got the sub arms on its backpack holding shields. So it's also like something from out of Thunderbolt.
right.
And then it's got the two big cannons coming over the shoulders.
Right.
And that's the one that the main girl starts out in. And I am, please believe, I am pumped about this mobile suit.
I was gonna say, it can't be that you think this sucks.
No!
I mean, just looking at it now, it's like, I want this thing.
This is the best mobile suit in the anime.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I want this thing.
And then I'm gonna
Oh, I know what you. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. VZ knows exactly what I'm about to be mad at. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the winning Gundam. For those listening, it's one of those SD Gundams. So like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I get it. You wanna
Obviously.
market your SD line, but really,
Come on. That's unnecessary.
and like this is her main Gundam throughout the whole show. The Power GM cardigan is out of the picture, very early on, by the way.
Ouch. Well, that's no fun. I want to see the other thing.
Yeah, like that. It's like I want to see the fucking like first disappointment was when the dom cracked open and revealed the burning Gundam. Okay, like so, well, okay. At least we have the Power GM cardigan. At
Yeah.
least we have that. Nope, they got to take that away from me too.
It could have been worse, though. They could have had it crack open and a Methus.
I don't know if a Methus would fit in a dom. I don't know how that would happen, but I don't like it.
He's like, no, but I don't like the idea, so it's just as bad.
And like, okay, so like, there were other good designs too. Like there was one where they took the Arjarja from Double Zeta and gave it a Gyan motif.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you can't
And, like,
forget
that's
that
the
we
one,
all know
like-
you're not a fan of the Gyan.
Well, like I can be a fan of the Gyan, if like they call it the Argyagya, obviously, but it's not a bad design. It has a gun, so it's already better than the Gyan.
Yeah.
But they start like recycling a whole bunch of Exia variants, which I'm like, oh, kind of weird, but sure. Apparently there's a Den and Zon at some point. I guess I didn't get that far because I'd stopped like halfway through because I was just done. It was annoying seeing these characters be such a-holes to each other over this game, whereas the previous Gundam Build Fighters, like, we're very heavily competing, but at the end of the day, we're all friends. We're not being mean to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sort of like when you're just ultimately playing paintball with your friends.
Yeah.
You would hate Build Divers, because that one's like where they made it like basically an isekai.
I have watched the first episode of the first Build Divers, and I still intend to get more into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not opposed to the isekai. Quite frankly, I really want them to just make that a video game. I think that would work. But that's me wanting good Gundam video games, and we haven't really gotten in that paradigm since the PS2 era.
So, okay, I'm gonna let this slide on into mine here
Go for it.
because it's actually relevant. My second pick is also Gundam, and it's also a sequel. In this case, it's Gundam Seed Destiny.
Hey.
Okay, so before somebody says, why would that be a disappointment? The first one was bad. Well, that's your opinion. I actually am one of the few people I know who actually enjoyed the first one, minus the excessive CGI and a couple of crappy parts about that, and those Zoid ripoffs. Not a fan of the Bakus. Sorry, for fans of those out there.
They should have stayed in their own anime.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, I don't even dislike the idea of them having like desert units like that, but yeah. Anyway, so here's why Seed Destiny was a disappointment. Okay, because A, I actually did like the original, and B, it started off good. It actually had a plausible premise. It's like, okay, this happened. I mean, I can't get into it too much because it's spoilerific. But something bad happens in the sense that, like, after about the first, I can't exactly tell you the exact episode this happens. It's a 50 episode show. Somewhere after episode between 5 and 10, it all just goes south. They set it up pretty good and everything. It's like, okay, all right, you got a masked character. That's not a spoiler in my opinion. You got
Gundam without a masked character.
yeah, exactly. So, anyway,
Water is wet.
yeah, a mysterious character that wears a mask. Haven't seen that before. Anyway, which by the way, I'd rant about that, but that would reveal who they are. So I can't. Anyway, going back to the actual show, here's what happened. And looking beyond the surface, you kind of figure out what happened. Like, all right, his wife, the writer's main wife, also wrote on the show. Was actually one of the main writers on the show. And during this time, they were having what I could only describe as a lover spat. I guess that would be how you would say. There was some sketchy stuff going on, and obviously that interfered with the show.
Didn't she get sick, or someone got sick on the show?
That
too
could have happened. It's been a while, but what I know for sure is that they were clearly making it up as they went along. I mean, because there's lots of retconning. There's just stuff that doesn't make sense due to the established things that already happened. And again, there's just some really poor character development. And there's just a lot of things that clearly were not planned out or tie in properly. And the only way you can really make sense of that is that it was A, rushed, and B, had a lot of things coming in from outside that weren't really supposed to be there.
So, like, you can imagine, because I've watched, like, half of Seed Destiny without seeing Seed. So you can imagine how I felt going into it. Like, okay, I'm watching this Gundam anime, so I know who Kira Yamato is, but I don't know who the rest of these characters are. I can't tell who the main character of the show is.
I'm going to just be real here. They tried to make the main character Shin Asuka.
I could tell they were doing that, but
here's the thing. Somewhere around episode, I don't know, 20 or something, they just said, yeah, nah, we're not doing that. Like, so everything they've already set up, it's like, okay, you're supposed to be following this guy who again, I'm not going to get too deep into the details, but and fair enough, they make him fairly plausible why he's pissed off and his background. It's not pleasant.
Isn't there also like a tech jump in the show where it's like
go ahead.
A tech jump in the show
you were
where
saying?
It's like they were getting like a tech jump in the show?
Yeah, but I don't care about that. I mean, realistically, if you bitch about that, you got to bitch about Stardust Memory.
True. Mm-hmm.
So I don't care about that. That's the least of its problems. The least. I mean, like I said, they switch back to, oh, well, we have all this new set of characters, but we've decided the old ones were actually more popular, so we're gonna bring them in and kind of phase those other ones back into the background as almost secondary characters, and it doesn't work. It pissed everybody off. There was a lot of retconning. It's just a fucking train wreck.
So I thought even Destiny was popular in Japan based on the number of stuff you see still that comes out for it.
I mean, it wasn't popular. I just don't think it's good, and it's a disappointment. I mean, those characters are popular. I mean, I don't need to point out that new type Lacus was like #1 for how long?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think he was only dethroned when C2 came out.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And she's still high up there even today. I mean, she's still pretty high up in the favorite characters list. I mean, so there you go. And again, Kira and all them are all very popular characters. And again, that's probably part of the popularity in general, extending outward. But that has nothing to do with the actual plot. And quite frankly, I think they dropped the ball. And here's how you know they dropped the ball. The OVA that followed, Stargazers, was like 3 episodes or whatever, and it was better than the entirety of that show. And it worked, and it took place inside of the show. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that just shows that the writing was very piecemeal. It was, I don't know. The writing almost reminds me of like Anno decided to go on a bender and just like wrote whatever came to mind. It's like, okay, here's the characters, here's the situation. Go nuts. Make sure not to sleep for a few days. Here's more Red Bull. It's like, well, I got to write it this way because, and then someone else comes in and goes, no, you don't. Who cares? Who cares if it doesn't make any sense? And that's pretty much Gundam Seed Destiny. And I say this as somebody who actually likes Seed. And I'm like one of the only people I know outside of my buddy Derek that actually is a fan. So I was actually very disappointed in that. And even more disappointed that it was 50 episodes. And I slogged through all of them. But the worst thing about it is you could see potential. It's like, okay, these were cool characters. So in the beginning, the setup is good. You know how like there's always a setup for how the war starts again, or how the conflicts either re-erupt or sets it up for a new one.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you wait till you get to my third one.
That works really well. They set that up well based upon how things were in that timeline. It made sense. You could see it coming. It's like, okay, yeah, I could see where this would flame the fans, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I was not happy about it, and I don't think I'm probably going to buy it. I mean, if I did, it would be purely for the collector point of it, not because I'm a fan.
Just for completion's sake.
That being said, I will give some credit. Some of the I like the character Luna Maria Hawk, mostly because I liked her voice actress. Anyway,
what about the mobile suit designs?
There's a couple of cool ones. There's one of them that's very obviously a nod to the what's it called now?
The Dom. I know this is the Dom.
Well, yeah, but that's not the one.
The Goof. There's the Goof looking one.
Yeah, there's that, but that's still not the one I'm talking about. What is it? The big fucking one from Zeta. The gigantic fucking one.
The O?
No, not the O. The one that 4 is.
Oh, the Psycho Gundam.
Psycho. Yeah. It's basically a nod to that. Again, I didn't even want to say that because sort of trying my best not to get to spoiler, but it's kind of hard not to at least get a little bit in that realm to explain why I have problems with things, and just to make points of reference. Again, nothing about this will spoil the show for you if you're interested in checking it out.
All right, so
moving along.
VZ.
Okay.
Sorry about my rant. I had to get that out of my system.
No, good rant. Okay, so my pick is one that you guys haven't seen, but I know you know about it, especially you, Anubis.
I think I've seen the part of the first episode of this. I think I actually have it on a hard drive somewhere.
Dragonar, Metal Armor Dragonar.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've certainly heard of it.
Yeah, which is a 1987 Sunrise show. Great mecha designs. Kunio Kawawa at his top. Great. Even the character designs are good. They look sort of like a dry run for the 0083 designs.
So they have that sort of I don't want to say bulky, but
slightly more grounded in realism characters.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue Stardust Memory did that almost from top to bottom. Character designs, mecha, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what kind of this is a sort of dry run for things that would be implemented into Gundam later. And that's the thing about this show is it was clearly meant to be a show to sort of take on the mantle of Gundam, and it just didn't work that way. My initial issue is that it's a show that so you have a show with a very serious war-like show, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very similar to like a Gundam situation. But then it does a lot of these wacky, zany. It does like not that zany, but it's almost like where Double Zeta's humor was, except I didn't mind the humor in Double Zeta.
So
Mm-hmm.
like in Gundam, you actually kind of expect
You
a
know,
little bit of lightheartedness, just
how could
because.
it not be? How could you get any more dark?
Yeah, especially in Double Zeta, it's like okay,
Like, where could you have possibly went to be darker than it already was?
yeah.
Like, it's like you can't go down any further. You have to look up just to see hell here.
So like, you
Yeah.
kind of expect a little bit of lightheartedness in Gundam. So I can understand that. Yeah.
Or maybe it was just, insert a joke here about how Tomino had a brief weekend of optimism.
Yeah, so it's a show that just kind of didn't know what it wanted to be because it was trying so hard to be the next Gundam, the show to take on the mantle Gundam, but without the sort of the where Gundam was more natural planning to get to that level.
That was basically their go-to goal, and it was just too lofty.
I think that was it. I mean, granted, a lot of other Sunrise shows were kind of meant to be the next Gundam.
Sure,
And
there
it only
was
became-
always that sort of, okay, we need to. This is the benchmark. We got to kind of try to. If we're not playing ball, we're at least playing the same sport.
Yeah, but like I said, excellent design work. I even have a toy of one of the designs. It's of the main Dragonar.
Mhm.
It's a great design work. And
Yeah, I'm looking
they
at the
do
designs
kind of,
right now, and it kind of reminds me of.
Can you post some pics?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like it kind of reminds me of
go to Mecha
Votons
NH.
mixed with a little bit of Macross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like I said, it's kind of like things that would come to Gundam
Mm-hmm.
because there's stuff that
Let me
looks
open that up.
there's stuff that
Oh
looks
yeah,
very
that's
much like,
really cool. I like that a lot.
there's stuff that looks like, put it in the chat too.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
chat.
okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. That's not only really detailed.
Oh yeah, that's like the mass production model.
It
Oh, so-
reminds me of something, and I can't put my finger on it. Like, it reminds me of something else, and I just cannot for the life of me put my finger on it.
For some reason, it reminds me of the.
Is it Leisner? No. No, I don't think so. Damn, I don't remember. It reminds me of something else, though.
It reminds me of those designs that Harmony Gold sued FASA over from the original BattleTech.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's the one I have the 12.
Yeah, the second one here.
The second one, I think that's the main robot.
Yeah, Dragonar 1 is the main.
You know what
one.
that
And
almost
then
looks like? I mean, it almost looks like, and again, you'll probably disagree with me on this, but it almost looks like a much more detailed Gundamified concept like the nightmares from Gias.
I can sort of start to see that.
Just kind of the way it stands up like that. I mean, obviously it's a lot more kind of intricate in the actual design, but
yeah, but the way I can start to see that is looking at the torso.
Yeah,
specifically
I think that's
the
what
chest.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I love Mecha. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen everything. Maybe someday. But
and then, okay.
I mean, I will make no bones about it. Mecha is my favorite, genre of anime. At the end of the day, probably.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot for me to like. I mean, it really does appeal to sort of that giant robots thing from when I was a kid. Liking things like even beyond like Transformers or something like that, but also stuff like. And I know this is gonna sound weird, but I used to like tractors a lot when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
like have like John Deere models and things like that.
Mm.
Basically sort of like Gunpla, but when you were a kid, but they were like, you know, modeling cars and things like that. But in this case, they were tractors. And I used to have a ton of them. I honestly do not know where they're at. I guarantee I still have them. They're locked away somewhere. And maybe they're worth something. I don't know. But that was something I was obsessed with. I also really liked Matchbox cars.
Yeah, I had a bunch of
I had an ungodly amount of them. Like,
That was a Hot Wheels
okay.
guy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, geez. I had, to give you an idea of how many I had, there used to have these, like, tool chests. Not the big red ones, not those. But, like, sort of combination of that idea, but more like almost like a fishing tackle box.
Oh, I had something like that too.
And it was just full to the brim.
I had something like that too. Wow.
Yeah. Well, we're very close in age, so that's not really that weird. My cousin, same deal. We all had a bunch of stuff like that.
So
it's always interesting to kind of bring up stuff like that because you see that a lot of other people had that exact same experience.
Yeah. So, two other things. No, that's fine. Two other things is they do the gimmick. They do the same exact thing where, as in First Gundam, where the main female is the sister of the of the Char of the show.
Again, spoiler alerts.
Yeah,
Spoiler
they did the same exact thing.
50-year-old anime.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
VZ, I am your father. I'm sorry. Somebody had to do it.
They also do. So they introduced these. Somewhere around the halfway point, they introduced these Fist and North Star looking thug characters.
That's interesting.
That was kind of like a group for the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, like,
are they piloting mecha like that too? Or
they're piloting some sort of mecha in the show.
Okay, yeah. Because I was just getting these visuals of like some Ken like character like just finger punching these mecha, and it's like, I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, so the only episode that ever felt like gave me a feeling of like fuck yeah type of feeling was the last episode where the main good guy and the main bad guy are like teaming up together in their mecha. That was the only part that was like made me feel a visceral coolness. And the openings, both openings are so good. You've seen those openings in Nubis.
That's why I got the show. That's why I started watching it. Just because I saw
I'm
that.
Not gonna lie to you. I opened up your the custom thing the schematics here. I actually have a knife that looks exactly like that.
Yeah. And they store in the back of the lower leg. Those knives.
Right. Well, in real life, you kind of usually have them in like a boot or something like that.
But yeah, I saw that opening and with the elaborate startup sequence, and I was like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, startup sequence and all 2D, no computers.
A mecha show without an elaborate startup or launch sequence.
More mecha shows need that. There are too many mecha shows where they don't really focus a whole lot on like the inside of the cockpit and how the things work, and that's disappointing to me.
Be real here, the launch sequence is pretty much the transformation porn sequence, like from Mahou Shoujo.
Yeah, it's fan service.
Yeah, it really is. And the more detailed and absurd it is, the better. Like the more kind of launch pads or interlocking stuff they've got to do, or fans they've got to do to make it take off or whatever.
You gotta have you gotta have the dude in the cockpit flipping the switches, all the
Yeah.
little MFDs and the crosshairs and the HUD
thrusters
that's
And putting,
lining
putting
up.
his helmet on.
You got putting the helmet on. You got to have the guy standing out on the deck with the light sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got like the track being kind of let out to where it's okay. Here we go.
Yeah, you know what really sold me on launch sequences was Virtual On, because that's the select your fighter screen. You're in the hangar, and you're switching through all the different mechs. And when you press the mech, it steps into little foot locks. It like hunches down, gets ready, and just rockets out of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it's got the little dudes with the sticks too. Yeah,
The best is when they got the accessories, like they add like the hoverboard like shit.
When they like or Thunderbolt did this where
Yes it did.
where the mech steps into the thing, and you got the little rack that's got all the beam rifles on it and all the shields, and it got grab the beam rifle, grab the shields, let's go.
I love in F91, which I know you haven't seen yet.
I've got to see this.
But when the mobile suit goes, it puts the foot in this like thing that, and it like it locks on. It's like
Yeah, I know.
That way, and then it catapults.
Right. And then like there's other. I'm not gonna name something specific, but you got like the sort of like the charger things, like battery pack things they'll pop on.
Yeah, all the little,
like
the
for
little
limited, like
accoutrements.
ultra, like power or whatever.
0083 had a really interesting one where it's like it's on Seema's ship, the Zanzibar or whatever the name for her Zanzibar class ship.
I know what ship you mean.
And it's normally they have like 2 foot locks. This one is just 1 foot lock, but it runs down the side of the ship. So you're actually the right side of the mobile suit is actually hanging out in space, grabbed onto this thing, and rockets out the hangar that way.
Things off, yeah.
So it's just interesting
Like
how
never run out of ways to launch these fucking things.
no, and somehow
Dragonar
Dragonar managed to.
It almost reminds you of like I don't know how often either of you like were on roller coasters or anything as kids.
I've been on like twice.
Okay.
Once.
Like you go to like I don't know Six Flags or Cedar Point or any places like that where they got them, and most of them are actually on top of the track.
Yep.
Okay, but occasionally you'll get one like the Batman where you're actually under it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly which one.
I mean, it's kind of like that, but it's like they just find infinite ways to do that. It's like, okay, this is going to shoot out sideways. I mean, you just start laughing. It's like they're gonna start taping like old, outdated Soviet fucking tech, into like it's like, oh, we're gonna run some 8 tracks, or some shit like that.
Well,
And again, a lot of old sci-fi did that. Like they would have stuff that, like, if you really examined it, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. But that's okay.
But yeah,
they did.
That's getting really busy about Shinji Ikari still having a tape deck.
Yeah, SSS Gridman actually did an homage to the scene, the scene in the intro of Dragonar.
Oh, okay. I've actually seen that, so maybe I need to actually watch it again so I can see the spot you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the part in the Dragonar opening where you see it on its side.
Okay.
And yeah,
I'd have to watch it again. It's been a while.
Yeah,
and I actually have to watch Dragonheart too, just so I can what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least the opening.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Anubis?
okay.
Yep.
Will you guys allow me to call an audible? Because I had one thing down here, but after K-Guys talked about Gundam Seed Destiny, I kind of want to talk about something different that was more disappointing than what I have down here. Because I have Kanokon.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
that was disappointing, but not nearly as disappointing as Gundam 00 second season.
Okay.
So,
Which I haven't seen the second scene, but I
keep it
know.
that way.
Well,
It's not very
go
good.
ahead.
Watch Gundam 00 and only Gundam 00. Second season doesn't.
Yeah, I
even
heard
exist.
the second season was better.
I do like season 1 better than season 2. I will say that.
Gundam 00 season 1 is phenomenal. It's great.
Again, good setup. I mean, like, and no one can say this without kind of probably generating some level of ire, but it's like they did sort of have the take on the Middle East too, which was a little different.
Gundam 00 it's a post 9/11 Gundam anime.
I heard that described about that show.
That's exactly what it is.
It's absolutely.
It's a post 9/11 like kind of like geopolitics, real Earth geopolitics. Very.
You can't say it wasn't informed by it. It definitely was.
Yeah, very murky. Like morally
it also
ambiguous.
It also has arguably one of the most disturbing intros of any Gundam ever. Like when you see Setsuno fucking barreling through the sand dunes, being chased by those fucking mecha.
Yeah.
Where like the dudes are screaming religious shit, and mowing people down.
And it's like it's a post 9/11 like sort of kind of covering Islamic extremism sort of Gundam anime.
It's really weird. Like if you almost had to be there to truly, I think, get it the way you were supposed to. I mean, not to say you couldn't enjoy it now, but I think if you were closer to the event itself, it would have hit more.
Sure, we're definitely still in a world informed by those paradigms. I definitely think it, and it's definitely like a look into the time it came out.
And also,
not only that, but it's such an interesting setup because it's like, okay, like it's like as though mobile suit technology like kind of just came out. Like
it's not like the really far into the future stuff. They got like space elevators are new.
Yeah, like space travel is just getting to be a big thing that normal people are doing. Like all the mobile suits are kind of all the mobile suits are kind of tied to the various space elevators, so like they're not self-driven. They got to recharge and shit. Like the Russian Chinese area, like the Asian bloc area still uses things that look like basically big tanks on legs, but you can tell it's kind of supposed to be a Zaku. But
I know what mobile suit you're talking about.
Yeah, it's sort of like a post-Soviet thing. Too.
Yeah, it looks like the AK-47 of mobile suits.
Yes, and like even the people like that are, I believe it's called the Human Reform League.
The Human Reform League, yes.
Now, granted, I don't see a future like that where Russia and China are under the same umbrella ever.
No,
really.
it's not going to happen.
If you know anything about those countries, you know that's never going to happen. Even at the height of communism, they didn't like each other.
But so you had that, and then, oh shit, here come these Gundam things, and they got these weird particles coming out of them, and they can fly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whoa, mobile suit that can fly by itself?
And then you have a couple other things, too, that they kind of touch on. Every Gundam franchise has an angle, usually. Like, some sort of, like, beyond just the space conflicts or the human interaction, there's usually some sort of other thing where like, Seed, it was genetic engineering.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not a spoiler. That's just... I mean, it's in the fucking synopsis. Whereas in 00, it's sort of in the same realm, but it's more like biotechnology.
Like 00 has a few angles going for it. It's like,
I mean, you got the early age of space exploration. You've got human experimentation.
Yeah, you got terrorism. Like the protagonist group are basically a bunch of terrorists.
Yeah, it really was very similar to the setup that Wing had.
Yeah,
which was on purpose. They were sort of trying to make Wing for a new generation.
True.
I was gonna say.
They even said so.
I was gonna say real fast. Since you brought up space elevators, because I was thinking back and forth. Am I gonna talk about Dragonar or my other mecha show, Orgus? Because that also had a space elevator.
Mhm.
But I went with Dragonar more because there was more for me to complain about.
But yeah, it's.
I think Double O, the second season, had some of the same. I don't think it was nearly as badly handled as Destiny, though.
No.
I don't think they dropped the ball nearly as much because, like, even if you don't like what they did, there's still more logic to it than there is Destiny.
Well, so here's the thing about Double O versus Seed Destiny. Seed Destiny is clear that they just started making some shit up.
Yeah, like it was not plotted out very, very much in advance. You could tell it's not.
The thing about Double O second season is that you could kind of tell it was going to turn into Double O second season by like the last quarter of Double O.
Again, not to get into too many spoilers. Again, we try the best we can not to do that.
Yeah, but needless to say, the story in Double O takes a turn to where Double O second season is kind of inevitable, which is a shame because the problem with second season is that it ruins everything that was interesting about Double O.
Right, because it moves in a more linear fashion, I would say.
It moves in a more linear fashion, and the conflict is less muddy.
Less grandiose, it seems like. It's
well, it's like, okay, all right, well,
it doesn't feel as, I don't know how to word it. It's like almost doesn't feel as personal or something.
Where previously it was 3 major power blocks all warring amongst each other, but also trying to battle off this group of super powerful armed terrorists armed with basically super weapons. Like very precise weapons of mass destruction. That's what the Gundams are in the Double O universe. And going into second season, now everybody kind of has some version of that technology, and the entire world has kind of come together to fight against the terrorists with super weapons.
Right.
So and they've also become despotic. Like they've also become like they're basically like the Titans from Zeta. Oh, they've also become super oppressive and despotic over the whole world. So now it's like, oh well, where previously it was, oh well, these guys are very clearly terrorists. They're very clearly using these very precise weapons of mass destruction to try and coerce the nations of the world toward certain policy reforms. That's textbook terrorism. Now it's where previously was that, and it's like, whoa, is it really correct for these guys to be the protagonists? In second season, it's like, oh yeah, obviously the Earth government is much worse than what these people are doing. Obviously, it's not unclear at all. It's not, and it's like, oh, the Earth government is oppressing the innocents too. So okay, well, doesn't matter now.
I mean,
and also the combat was less interesting.
It shrinks the battlefield in a way.
It makes it much less an interesting conflict, even down to like the actual suit-to-suit combat. Because now, now everyone has some version of the Gundam technology, the GN particle technology that the Gundams run off of. Now everything's just, okay, we're gonna dash this way and fire a laser beam. And then we're gonna dash this way and we're firing beam weapons against each other. Where previously it was, okay, well, these people got very powerful mobile suits that we are not even close to matching. So we're gonna
have to roll out our experimental stuff.
We gotta pull out the experimental stuff. We gotta
the human engineered experiments and shit.
We gotta pull out our super soldiers. We gotta have them. We gotta customize a mobile suit for those people. We gotta assemble this.
We gotta roll out our aces like Graham.
We gotta pull out all of our best pilots and put them in a unit just so they can fight Gundams. We gotta get super creative with our tactics.
And not to get too into it, but Seed kind of had a thing with that too. If you know anything about it, like they had like they weren't really super soldiers, but they were jokingly called druggies because they would pump them full of these like drugs to try to make them fight at the same level as coordinators. Again, you kind of had to see it, I guess, to understand it, but it's sort of similar that they're trying to skirt their own ethics just to be able to fight at the same level.
They get desperate.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like again, it gets kind of entangled. You really do have to kind of see it.
Yeah, but when it gets to the second season, it's just so boring. Everything interesting about the show was killed in the last quarter of the first season. So now it's just okay. Well, now we gotta figure out how this conflict ends, and we know how it's gonna end because we know who the protagonists are. Where previously it's like, well, okay.
Wasn't there a Double O move?
There was.
There was. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Trailblazers.
Awakening of a Trailblazer.
Yeah. Anyway, but okay. You were pretty succinct in what you were disappointed about. That they sort of moved in a direction that you didn't really like with the second season, and I understand it. I mean, I didn't probably dislike it as much as you did, but again, I dislike Destiny, so
I thought it threw out everything that was interesting about the first Double O, and that's really what Double O had going for it. It was such an interesting show, and then second season came around and said, nope, not doing that anymore. We're on some boring shit now.
Okay. Let's see. My last pick is will sort of stand in for your Kanokon flop here.
Yeah.
Mine is Yamada's First Time.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you've seen the show, you probably already know what I didn't like about it. Okay, it sort of presented itself as a really ecchi show, like in the same vein as like High School DxD or something like that. But it wasn't really. It was
like
a
kiss assist almost.
Yeah, it was nowhere near that level of raunch, or even that level of skill for that matter. There's a lot of weird kind of attempts like at innuendo and jokes and stuff, which makes it sound like SYD or something like that. But it's not, because SYD is actually funny. Sorry, but it's true. This failed at really being all that funny to me, so that aspect of it's gone. And let's be real here, a lot of ecchi shows really do thrive on the humor quotient being in there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because let's be real here, when they try to mix that with seriousness, you end up with Divergence Eve. Which, yeah. Anyway,
so I'm gonna fuck 100 guys.
Yeah, that's basically your main character, but she basically says something to the equivalency of this, and she's actually afraid of men, pretty much. And it's just, it doesn't work. I thought it was going to be another show like that. Like, now that could have just been me having expectations that were misled. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was going to be in that same sort of ballpark as something like that. Something that was really raunchy and just sort of fun in that way. And it just really didn't measure up. And I guess I don't know if I had assumed it was going to be just more shameless, or
I felt the same way about the show My Girlfriend is a Gal. Where it's
okay. But that's why it was a disappointment, because it's like, okay, this is pretty pedestrian, really. It kind of marked itself as it was going to be this like big kind of like perverted comedy that was going to be funny, and it had a chuckle or two, but it just really didn't measure up to what I expected. And again, I'm not sure if that's just because I had unrealistic expectations, or somehow I got it in my head it was going to be different than it actually was. But at the same time, it was like, I kind of bailed out about halfway through it. And I was just kind of like, I'm actually not really. I could be better off watching something else. In this vein.
That show is 10 years old now. That was from 2010.
Holy shit! Is it really?
Yeah, I think it was from 2010.
Wow, time flies when you're in a coma. Anyway, so again, these were the 3 that I picked. I don't know why I picked these. They came to mind because they were ones that I guess I thought were going to be better than they were.
Yeah, well, like again, you were hyped based on the initial concept.
Yeah, because it's something. Like, because if you read like the concept to Yamada's first time, it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be really funny and stupid and perverted and probably full of lots of bad jokes, and which they sort of tried to do that, but I guess it just felt like it didn't go far enough to really keep my interest. And the characters just actually got on my nerves more than anything else.
Oh, it was like 2010.
Wow. Holy shit. Yeah. This show is older than our podcast. Oof. Actually, I think almost all these shows are. Well, not Build Fighters Try, but
yeah.
No, my 2 were from last year. 2 out of 3 were from.
Yeah,
I was actually referring to mine, but.
Oh, yours, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All mine, predate it, but. So, okay, that's gonna be that pick. Does anybody have any others they want to throw out there, or just sort of, kind of, think of, I don't know, ways?
I think we're good with what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I mean, I could have picked other things, but they weren't really disappointments, as I kind of expected they would just be meh. Or again, I wasn't ever going to go to Icon and be like, "Hey, this was going to be awesome." It's like, no, this thing looks stupid, and it turns out it was pretty stupid. So I mean,
Icon on Blu-ray now.
Yeah, that's happening. That's a real thing that's going to happen.
Who has it?
Media Blasters.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I'll never get it. Even if I wanted it,
for
I
like
probably
5 years.
Get it. It's like, hey, that'll come out a year after I'm dead.
No, it's out now. It's already out.
Oh, they actually managed to put something out. Damn.
Holy shit. Okay, speaking of comas.
Yeah. That company's basically like a skeleton crew at this point. It's like
the joke there was that it was a shell company.
Yeah, it must be like 2 people.
Who knows?
1 or 2 people left.
Yeah, it's the person in the basement that's being financed for Queen Bee. I don't know. I don't know. I think even that's an insult to Media Blasters. Oof. Ugh. Anyway, all right. So that was pretty fun. I mean,
yeah, interesting picks you all guys had.
Yeah, I mean, I could have picked something that was more recent, I guess. But again, I wasn't going to pick something that you already did. And Uzaki-chan, I didn't think it was necessarily a disappointment. I just didn't think it really lived up to the hype.
That's the thing. The hype for the show versus the actuality. That's the.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would have been a weekend rental back in the day, as I like to say.
Yeah, but, I mean, I did see all of it. I didn't drop it, but I'm not going to bother with like its second season.
No, I mean, like, put it this way: there's some shows that I think I would probably watch more of if they dropped more of it, like Gabriel Dropout, or something like that, because I actually enjoyed that, and I still kind of think about shows like that once in a while. So it's it's one of those shows where it's like, yeah, I could see myself coming back to that. Yeah. Maybe not frequently, but from time to time.
That one never got a second season or anything.
Yeah, I honestly was a little surprised because maybe it's just because of the memes, but it seemed like it held on long after it stopped airing.
Well, people definitely like Satania. I know that much.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I said, maybe it's because of the memes. I know that gives a lot of shelf life to a lot of shows that otherwise just kind of stop.
Yeah.
It was a great premise.
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely hilarious because it was sort of the inverse. Like, okay, the demons or the devils were pretty well behaved, really, actually, and generally harmless and socially awkward. Whereas the flip side, the angels, the angelic types, were raunchy, mean spirited,
and lazy.
yeah, lazy, perverted. Just yeah, I mean, it was pretty amusing. I mean, anyway, do we have any mail?
We don't, but we do have a comment from the IRC from Burgermeister.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
This from Burgermeister. My disappointments for Slayer Season 1. ReZero for popular stuff. And then Izetta and Comet Lucifer for the more obscure stuff.
Okay, I'll throw my hat in the ring on this one. I wonder what he didn't like about, or they didn't like about Slayer Season 1.
That's my question.
Yeah, I actually always liked the Slayer series. I mean, yeah, it was pretty low budget, but
The only Slayers I ever saw was a little bit of the newer one.
okay.
Not the old one.
Well,
So,
I always thought it had charm to it, but then again, I also like RPGs and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I tend to kind of enjoy that sort of. We'll put it this way: I like Hestia, Shield Hero, and things like that. So, okay, didn't really care much for the plot they tried to do near the end. Okay, I could see that because that was. I don't want to say it was a bait and switch but I could see where that was sort of haphazardly constructed. I totally get what they mean by that. And that seems to be like, yeah, exactly. It felt like it had sort of an identity crisis, which goes into that joke about how nobody likes the ending of any show. Like anime endings, nobody likes them. You can't name a show that ends perfectly and everybody agrees it did. Not with anime, at least.
I will tell you one ending that actually did ruin the show for me was the ending to Magikano.
Okay.
So that's one of those mid-level 2000s era romance comedy anime
that you have an affinity for.
that I have an affinity for, except for this one, because
well, yeah.
this one is like, okay, we're gonna. It's the big, huge conflict thing, and this is another one of those where they actually try to do a plot for like the last 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big ending monster thing or whatever it is, the final conflict, but it's actually too powerful for us to defeat. Like, it's legitimately too powerful. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn back time to the beginning of the anime.
Wait, that is a terrible idea.
That's what a cop out.
Wow. That's bad. Like, I didn't even see this show, and I'm thinking, wow.
And it's not even one of those
terrible.
things where we're turning back time, but we keep all the knowledge, all the things we learned. No, it's basically just establishing an infinite loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah, weird.
Ugh.
But yeah. Another from the IRC is from Drawn Girl. My disappointment was the final Sora no Otoshimono movie.
Did feel kind of anticlimactic. Although I will say, at least it kept all its production values, which was something that it was a great show to look at. No, that's. I mean, compared to a lot of other TV series, it looked like it had a lot more budget, a lot more like detail and fluidity in the animation and all that. But that's just me. I've seen all the Toshimono movies or show and whatnot. It's one of those ones I actually did watch all of. Let's see. Is there any others I can think of offhand? Well, without getting too deep into it, I'm not going to mention any like.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think
I do
so.
think
It's
we're
like
good.
it's like I'm not gonna be like Dragon Ball GT or something like that because it's like he didn't really have anything to do with that, so I honestly wasn't expecting it to be too good.
Yeah.
You know, I know somebody. I'm sure some GT fan that's listening to the show is getting angry as I speak. You know,
Are they
slamming.
GT fans?
Yeah. Well, in America there are for sure.
Really? No.
Of course there are. It's. I mean, I don't know them personally, but apparently they're there.
Anyway, that is indeed the show. The email address is ntrradio@gmail.com. The website is ntrradio.net. Check out VZ stuff at vzmk2 moemekagatai.wordpress.com. He's also got a book. It's called The Big Book of Idols. You can check that out at thebigbookofIdols.com.
It's a book.
My book.
You can find my stuff at yashike.moe. I talk about otaku lifestyle, like social self-development and lifestyle from an otaku's perspective. Otaku Entrepreneur is business and finance from an otaku perspective. I've got a book coming out. It's called Otaku Entrepreneur. You can find out more about it at otakuentrepreneur.com/book. We got the merchandise. You can find that at yashike.moe/store. I've been working at this since like last December, but I'm making music now. You can find the music that I'm making at she'slostcontrol.media/music, or just go to utamirecords.com, UTAMI records.com. On Twitter, I am at TAnubis. VZ is on Twitter at VZMK2. The show is on Twitter at NTR_radio. Check out Otaku Midnight, Bakugaijin Show, Asobi FM, as well as the Kiki Panda stuff at thekikipanda.net. All their stuff is really good. I'm Tom Force Anubis.
I'm K-Gods.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And even though we get put on the list of top 10 anime disappointments every time we say this, is NTR Radio.